You know how every so often something comes along that is going to change everything and you find out about it early and you get on it ahead of the curve? Well, this could be it for sim racing. This will make you faster. And it's in open beta right now and no one knows about it, but I reckon in a few months there are going to be lots of people using it. It's from a bunch of people including James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer and absolutely one of the fastest sim racers in the world. This is RACEMAKE. So in this video, I'm going to let you know what it's about. I'm going to explain how to use it. It is currently free as well in open beta. So if you watch this video and you want to try it, go check out the open beta and reply in the comments what your thoughts are, because this is something that I'm very close to in sim racing. I've done a lot of stuff with telemetry. I have an actual race logic sitting on my rig. And I've done a lot at this track in particular. If you've seen one of my recent videos, I went around with a pro driver and a pro karting driver and tried to get faster. But here's the key point. I actually learnt more sooner using RACEMAKE than I did in that session. And that's because RACEMAKE to me looks like it's designed for 2024, 2025, not something that's like a legacy product being applied to sim racing, which is what we see a lot with telemetry in sim racing. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to explain how it works, then what I like about it, and then things I think they could improve. This is a sponsored video by RACEMAKE. It's important you know that, but they just want my honest feedback on the product like I do with a lot of sim racing companies. So let's start here. So as you can see, I'm going around Brands Hatch in the Ferrari 296 GT3. It says that at the top. Now it's important to say the footage here I've recorded myself on my PC in ACC. RACEMAKE, you get the pure map view and telemetry. And we have sort of classic looking telemetry at the bottom, throttle, brake, steering. However, to me, it's already presented much nicer than usual telemetry applications. I don't know what it is. It's the fact they actually shade it with a gradient makes a massive difference. Otherwise, it looks like you're looking at some kind of ECG heart trace. So I'd much prefer this. And obviously the map as well is a game changer. This would be very difficult to do using GPS in real life, but in sim data, you have all of this, so I can see how wide I'm going. And I'm going to show you a crazy feature coming up, by the way. And that feature could change this from a nice to have to a must have for a lot of people. But let's look at the telemetry. So I can already see here some issues with the telemetry that I would get in other applications. So I can see my throttle. Sometimes I'm having to lift off the throttle after I hit the apex, which is not good. I should be flat on the throttle. Once I get past the apex, that means that I'm basically coming in a little bit too hot, coming in a little bit too wide. I'm not hitting a nice apex. You can see as well on the steering trace, I'm having to do quite a bit of counter steering sometimes near the apex or just after the apex as I get on the power. And also with my braking, it doesn't quite look like I'm getting off the brake as quick as I should. But let's change a setting here. So now you're going to start to see what RACEMAKE is about, because I've flicked on detailed race line. And this is what I mean by quality of life. You can see now the race line goes red when I'm braking, goes sort of grey when I'm coasting basically, and green when I'm on throttle. And you need to bear this in mind, because when we use that really cool feature coming up, it's going to be so simple to see how to get faster. So, because one of the things about telemetry is you can kind of look at your telemetry all day long, and I've done this quite a lot on this channel. I've really looked at telemetry, and you can kind of, it's almost like looking in the tea leaves. You can make assumptions that may or may not be true. And what you really need is something to compare to, in my opinion. You need to compare yourself with someone faster, someone doing different lines. And I've been very lucky to do that on this channel with pro racing drivers, pro karters, physically here in the rig, sharing the same rig, looking at each other's telemetry. That's a really lucky thing to do. And most of us can't do that. I can't do that most of the time. So this is where RACEMAKE is bringing this critical feature that's very social. Well done if you guessed it already. So in RACEMAKE, you can very easily, with one click basically, compare your driving with other drivers. And what I'm going to do right now is compare my laps here with the world's fastest gamer, James Baldwin. So here we go. That white car, that is actually James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer. And I'm going to show you, don't worry, I'm going to show you how you actually get that up. It's available for anyone to use, which is very cool. And what you're seeing now is me actually using the telemetry to improve my driving for real. So the first thing I noticed, remember I told you about those grey lines for coasting? I don't really do any coasting. Look how much coasting James Baldwin does. And the really interesting thing, often when James starts coasting, I start getting on the throttle. And I find that really, really, really interesting because I've been very quick in Gran Turismo 7 in my time, and Gran Turismo Sport, but I've never been that quick in ACC. I've done stuff like Logitech McLaren G Challenge, but I've never been that quick. And I'm starting to see immediately that one of my issues is probably getting on the power too quickly. And there was a really interesting moment here. Look at these two corners where the telemetry, the purple indicator is going now. You can see those are two corners where James is very clearly off the throttle for a long amount of time in the corner, and I'm on the throttle. In fact, pretty much any corner you can see there, I put a spiker throttle in the corner and I get on the power a lot earlier, and that's actually costing me. So my impatience of getting on the power too early is massively, massively costing me. Have a look here. This is a process where James is coasting now and he's bringing that car close to the apex. He's in the Mercedes AMG, you can see the icon, I'm in the Ferrari 296, but still more coasting here, and when he starts to coast I start to get on the power. So I'm really not off the power enough here to let the GT3 car rotate. This is what I mean by this telemetry will make you faster. It's absolutely fascinating. Now there's lots of other stuff you can look at as well, like the gear changes, like the speed, like the RPM. You can see here I'm tracing the speed, and basically James is a lot faster than me at the end of straights because he's having such better exits. So it's all starting from my corner entry. There's also two ways you can track the telemetry. You can do time or you can do distance. Time is basically if you started the lap at the same time, this is how it would look, and that means that James is running ahead of me. You can also go to distance. I generally prefer using time, and I need to try and get closer. I'm now obsessed, by the way. I now want to get really as close as I can realistically to James Baldwin's time. He's the perfect rabbit to chase because he is the world's fastest gamer. And also my telemetry will be available in the game for anyone I think who adds me. Maybe it'll be available generally. So if you see me as a benchmark, you'll be able to go in there. Now what I want to do is compare a lap with James. And you see my fastest lap was actually lap 3. But I'm going to choose lap 6 instead because I felt like near the end of the session I was actually driving a little bit more aggressively and I want to see that style. This is how you add him. You just go to average racer, which is obviously completely unfair because he's not an average racer. He's not the world's average racer, world's average gamer. And I'm just going to go here to map view because I think this is the game changer for RACEMAKE. It's just going into map. I'm going to play it at half speed and I'm going to do it on time. So you can see now very clearly when James is coasting, I know I should be coasting as well. Look how close he gets to the apex there. I get on the power too early. That means that I run wide, and you can see on the map I'm running wide here. We all know there's the gravel and sand on the outside. You don't want to be there. Going into Druids, we'll be able to see different lines through the hairpins. You can see I make a B line for the apex and try and do a little bit more of a V, whereas James is doing more of a U shape, lifting off as well to get that rotation. For the next corner here, I'm not brave enough to go all the way to the outside of the track. I kind of end up there anyway, but I should be there initially and then I can brake in a straight line. I don't coast enough mid-corner, and that means that I go wide on the exit. James is actually more comfortable running wide and carrying that speed. This is all adding up, and this is why he's ahead of me here. Now coming in here, look how much James is going to coast. Really tricky corner. And when he starts to coast here, that's probably when I get on the power. You can see I'm trying to get on the power too early. I'm actually feathering the throttle. You can see the throttle indicator in the bottom left. There's a lot of information here. The TC as well, the ABS, the tyre temps. But to be honest, I think the most value for a lot of people is going to be in the map. And I'm hoping that they're going to bring sort of more map views. That would be great from RACEMAKE. So I think people are going to spend a huge amount of time in the map here. So coming into the fast right-hander at Brands Hatch. Again, you can see James coasting. Look at my throttle here. I've just got the throttle in, I'm sort of feathering it. I'm not allowing the car to rotate. I'm trying to push it around with the back end because Ferrari 296 is a rear engine car. So it is going to have that weight on the rear, not the same with the Mercedes AMG. But again, I'm just struggling here to get the car having good exits and getting on the power fully early. And it's really clear for me in the telemetry. Again here, look at the coasting from James. And I'm probably just going to get on the power here too early. Going to end up running wide, lifting off the throttle a little bit. When James gets on the power, he really gets on the power. So this is RACEMAKE. This is really, really, really powerful. They'll go on their website if you want to know how to actually download it. Basically, you just download a little telemetry logger, and then it's all done in your browser. What you're seeing now is actually in the browser. And I think it's going to be one of these things that you're probably just going to have running when you're on ACC. And then if you feel like you want to compare it, you're going to jump on and compare to James Baldwin or compare to your friends. They're obviously concentrating on ease of use as well. You can see that. So this is really interesting. It's given me a real drive and passion here to try and get faster using telemetry. It's really pleasing to look at, which I think is important. But to be honest, I'm really interested to know what you have liked here and what you don't like, because I'm sure RACEMAKE will really value that feedback. So thank you so much for RACEMAKE sponsoring this video. Really interesting tool. I am going to be using it and uploading my times. I'll see you next time.